Adrian Zelaya, and I will be preaching on giving our sin to God. Have you ever held on to something or someone just to realize that they were bad for you? Well, there was this one time where I was in my basketball class, and it was a chilly day, so that meant other classes had to be inside with us. Now, I was previously injured, so I had to sit out and I had to watch the other kids play basketball. As I was watching these kids play basketball, there was one court that stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Now, I wasn't so sure as to why they stuck out to me, but that brings me to my first point, the realization of entrapment in our sin. Now, this boy would refuse to take his right hand out of his jacket pocket. So he would try to shoot, he would try to dribble, and he would try to steal the ball with only one hand.
Okay.
Now, there are three things that I can take from watching this young boy play, which is, one, his pocket itself resembled a comfort in our sin. Now, what do I mean by comfort in sin? Well, by human nature, we tend to run to sin as a first resort because it is easy. The second thing that I can take from watching this young boy play was his hand itself represented the sin that we have yet to give up to God. Something that we hold so close to us that it is like a dagger in our side that hinders our performance. The third thing that I could take from watching his performance was the performance itself. His performance resembled a partial relationship with God, a double life, if you could say. A life that was partially in sin and a life in being a Christian. They do not work hand in hand, and one will overtake the other. He wanted to play, yet his desire for his sin, it caused him to lack in his performance. Which leads me to my second point, in feeding a fire. Now, he fed the fire for comfort in his sin over a fire for God, a fire and a burning passion for his will to be done. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 56 through 57, it says, "For sin is the sting that results in death, and the law gives sin its power. But thank God, he gives us victory over sin and death through our Lord Jesus Christ." Because this boy had fed the fire of his sin, it ended up burning him, such as the sting of death. Now, it got to the point where he realized that he was burned so bad that if he did not take his hand out of his pocket, then he would soon crash and burn. This leads to the point of where we need to take action. Now, sometimes our pockets can be really comfortable, and I can tell you for sure that I have struggled with taking my hand out of my own pocket. It was a relationship a few years ago, and I thought what I was doing was fine. I tried to justify my own wrongdoing because I was comfortable. And yet, I did not realize that I had led astray from God. Now, it wasn't until I was able to find a community that I was able to be held accountable, and a community that I was able to speak to, that I was able to find freedom from this sin, that I was able to finally take my hands out of my pockets. Now, you too can find this hope, so long as you find someone or a community to speak to and to have hold you accountable. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 3, it says, "If you fully obey the Lord your God and carefully keep all his commands that I am giving you today, the Lord your God will set you high above all the nations of the world. You will experience these blessings if you obey the Lord your God. Your towns and your fields will be blessed." So, church, let us take our hands out of our pockets and let us be that generation of Christians that decide to devote our lives to God's will and his plans over our lives, instead of devoting ourselves to the comfort in our own sin. Thank you.